Have you ever noticed that some of the best gardening secrets aren't hidden in modern books or expensive soil products, but in the quiet traditions of people who have lived close to the land for generations? That's exactly what I found when I stumbled across the Amish bedding trick. At first, I'll be honest, it didn't sound like much, just straw and manure layered together. But when I actually tried it in my own garden, the results were nothing short of remarkable. My plants weren't just growing, they were thriving, bigger and stronger than I'd seen in years, and my harvest doubled without a single bag of store-bought fertilizer. Today I want to walk you through this old-fashioned method, why it works so beautifully, and how you can adapt it to your own garden, no matter where you live. The Amish have always been masters of working with the land, relying on natural cycles instead of chemical shortcuts. Their bedding system is simple in design but powerful in effect. In their barns, livestock like cows or horses rest on thick layers of straw. As time goes by, manure and urine mix with this straw, and instead of being wasted, it becomes a living composting system right underfoot. By the time the bedding is removed, it's already halfway broken down into rich dark matter that's full of nutrients and beneficial microbes. When this material is added to the garden, it transforms tired soil into a powerhouse of fertility. The genius of this trick lies in the balance of materials. Straw on its own is carbon-rich but low in nitrogen, so it takes forever to decompose. Manure, on the other hand, is nitrogen-rich but can be too hot if applied directly, burning tender roots. But when you put the two together, they balance each other out perfectly. The carbon in the straw absorbs excess moisture and smell, while the nitrogen in the manure speeds up the breakdown process. As they compost together, they form a material that is fluffy, earthy, and full of the nutrients plants crave. It's like giving your soil a balanced meal instead of just one food group. You don't need to have a barn or livestock to make this work for you. If you can source straw and well-aged manure, you can recreate the Amish bedding effect in your backyard. Start by laying down a thick layer of straw directly onto your garden bed. Then spread a generous layer of aged manure on top. If the manure you have access to is fresh, let it sit and compost for several weeks before using it, otherwise it may be too strong. Once the layers are down, water them thoroughly to kickstart the breakdown process. Over the weeks that follow, the mixture will slowly heat, decompose, and settle into the soil, creating a natural, living mulch that feeds your plants from below. Within just a season of using this method, I noticed a dramatic difference. My tomatoes, which usually struggled in the midsummer heat, stood tall and kept producing well past their usual peak. My squash leaves were broader, almost as if they had doubled in size, shading the soil and, reducing weeds. And the most surprising change was in the soil itself. When I dug into it with my hands, it was darker, softer, and filled with earthworms. That's how I knew it wasn't just the plants that had benefited. It was the whole ecosystem underground. The straw and manure weren't just feeding the crops, they were building long-term fertility, something that will, pay off for years to come. If you're working with raised beds, containers, or a small garden space, you can still use this trick, just on a smaller scale. Create mini layers of straw and manure in your containers or at the base of raised beds. Over time, the same decomposition magic will happen, and your plants will reap the rewards. The key is to keep the balance. Too much straw, and you'll stall decomposition. Too much manure, and you risk overwhelming the soil. Keep them even, keep them moist, and let time do the work. The beauty of this system is that it doesn't rely on products or trends. It's a cycle as old as farming itself, and because it works with natural materials, it can be adapted anywhere in the world. Whether you're in a temperate zone, a hot climate, or even gardening in shorter growing seasons, the principle remains the same. Feed the soil with balanced organic matter, and the soil will feed your plants. This is why the Amish still use it, and why it worked so well for me. When I first tried the Amish bedding trick, I wasn't expecting much, but the proof was in the harvest. Bigger vegetables, healthier plants and soil that felt alive again. It's a method that requires no complicated tools, no store-bought fertilizer, just patience and trust in the natural process. If you've been searching for a way to enrich your garden without breaking the bank or depending on chemicals, I can't recommend this enough. If you found this guide helpful and inspiring, be sure to subscribe to Gentle Herb Living and share this with a fellow gardener who loves discovering timeless soil secrets. Together, we can keep these old traditions alive and continue building gardens that feed us deeply and naturally.